As we get closer to the NBA offseason, one name that's going to get attention is New Orleans Pelicans forward Brandon Ingram. Despite going 49-33 this season, the team's best record since 2008-2009, the Pelicans still ended up entering the playoffs as the 8th seed in the West and got swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round. A major reason the team lost so badly was because they were missing their leading scorer, Zion Williamson, due to injury in the series. But that's no excuse for Ingram. With Williamson out, Ingram was expected to lead the way on offense, but instead he played some of the worst basketball he's played in years when it mattered most. And due to his contract situation, the Pelicans are going to need to make some decisions about whether or not they see Brandon Ingram as a championship building block in the near future. Brandon Ingram only has 1 year remaining on his current deal and is eligible to sign a max extension as early as this offseason, putting some pressure on the Pels. In order to make their decision, Pelican management will take a large amount of factors into consideration. The first one being, is this team close to a championship contender as it currently stands? If Zion was healthy, could New Orleans have fared better against the Thunder? The truth is, even if they had Williamson, the Pelicans would have still likely been outscored by the Thunder. New Orleans is just one of the better defensive teams in the league, but stylistically, they lack the three-point shooting in their starting lineup to score with the best teams in the league. Could they be better next season with the same roster? Possibly. Zion is only 23 years old, so his improvement alone could help the Pelicans. And they have some promising young players on the team as well. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and Jordan Hawkins all have a lot of potential as two-way scorers. But that actually gives more reason why they would be inclined to trade Brandon Ingram. Three-point shooting is more vital than ever when building a championship contender. It's no coincidence that the two teams in the finals, the Celtics and the Mavericks, led the NBA in three-pointers made this season. It's not like Ingram isn't capable of shooting from distance. A few seasons back, Ingram seemed to be developing into a lethal scorer from all over the floor, but for whatever reason, he's decided that he doesn't want to commit to shooting the three ball, a skill that they need desperately to spread the floor around Zion. In 2019-2020, Ingram took a career-high 6.2 three-pointers per game and shot them at over 39%. It seemed like he was developing into an elite floor spacer, but since then he's focused on scoring closer to the basket. This year, Ingram took less than 4 three-pointers per game. Less than 24% of his shots came from deep, while he took more shots from 10 to 16 feet than he ever has before in his career. These are some of the reasons why his scoring numbers dropped to only 20.8 points per game, his lowest total in the last 5 years. It's not an encouraging sign for a guy that should be reaching his prime at age 26. The scoring reduction isn't necessarily because he's getting worse, but likely has a lot to do with the fact that Zion was healthy for most of the season. But that doesn't change the fact that his game just isn't an ideal fit around Zion. Both players like to use their size to score from inside the arc and are above-average passers for interior players. It might just make more sense for the Pelicans to get a player that they think would be a better fit besides Zion than pay Ingram the max deal. Trey Murphy came off the bench for most of the season, but still hit more than double as many three-pointers per game as Ingram did. It could really benefit New Orleans to give extra minutes to Murphy, but it'll be tough to do so with Ingram locked into the starting lineup. Herb Jones shot less threes than Ingram, but actually drained a much higher percentage of the shots he took. He's also an elite defender and a major part of the Pelicans' identity. With Murphy, Jones, and Zion in the starting lineup, there really would be no room for Ingram, and it could be argued that the lineup would mesh together more naturally alongside C.J. McCollum. Jonas Valanciunas, the team starting center, likely won't be coming back, and that'll open up cap space for New Orleans too. If the team could upgrade its center and potentially add a scoring guard to the roster, it could reconfigure them into a team that can compete in the West this season and moving forward. So that raises the question, if the Pelicans do trade Ingram, where would he be a good fit? One team that could be interested in him is the Atlanta Hawks. In some ways, their team is in a similar conundrum as the Pelicans, just in another position. The Hawks have two guards, DeJounte Murray and Trae Young, who just don't play well beside each other. And either could be an interesting fit on the Pelicans. Trae Young would have a bigger contract, but with Valanciunas and Ingram off the books, the Pelicans could afford to take him on. He'd be an instant downgrade to their defense, but has some of the best offensive skills in the game. Some players don't like playing with him because he's extremely ball dominant, but he does have elite skills in the pick and roll. A Zion-Trae Young tandem could be a forceful pair in the NBA for years to come, and a backcourt duo of Young and McCollum would be pretty fun to watch too. Shades of McCollum and Lillard, but with more talent surrounding them. And if the Hawks decide to keep Young and trade DeJounte Murray, he'd be an interesting fit in New Orleans as well. He's less ball dominant, but would fit in with the team's defensive identity. Murray's defense has been criticized since he joined the Hawks, but during his time with the Spurs, he was considered one of the best defensive guards in the league. And he could rekindle that form with a long and defensive-minded Pelicans team. Part of the issue for the Pelicans right now is there are a handful of wing scorers available in free agency that teams can bid for without having to trade assets. Guys like DeMar DeRozan and Paul George are both currently not under team contract, and it would be tough to argue that Ingram would be the best option of the three for a team looking to win immediately. But that likely wouldn't be a factor for the Hawks. After missing the playoffs and winning the draft lottery, they're likely going to embrace a rebuild. And a 26-year-old Ingram who still has some upside might be a better fit if he signed a max contract with them and committed to the system through the prime of his career. While it's easy to be critical of Brandon Ingram after his poor playoff performance against the Thunder, let's not forget that he's a rare type of player that has the ability to make an impact on both sides of the floor. At 6'8", Ingram is incredibly smooth, has high-end ball handling abilities, and can create his own jump shot. He's also got the wingspan and tenacity to contest shots on defense. He's switchable, versatile, and is an ever-improving playmaker. Maybe a change of scenery is exactly what this guy needs to regain his all-star form. But what do you guys think? Will Brandon Ingram get traded this offseason? And if he does, where will he go? Let us know in the comments section, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more sports news and insights. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.